The Monaco Grand Prix was bittersweet for Red Bull. On one hand, title favourite Max Verstappen won in thrilling fashion, with the rain adding much-needed excitement to an otherwise uneventful race. On the other hand, Sergio Perez was unable to earn himself points given his starting position and the track's narrow roads. Here's how Sunday's race went down for Red Bull. Verstappen had already established a substantial advantage over Alonso, who held the second position. However, as rain approached, the Aston Martin driver gained a strategic edge by opting for the hard tyres at the start, whereas Verstappen started experiencing difficulties due to worn mediums. As the rain eventually arrived and grew stronger, Verstappen made a pit stop on lap 56 out of 78 to switch to intermediate tyres. This move not only nullified Alonso's tyre advantage, but also foiled his attempts to benefit from any potential safety car or red flag situations. Alonso's decision to switch to slick tyres during his pit stop played into Verstappen's favour. The Spaniard took a significant risk, aiming to secure a race victory instead of merely settling for another podium finish. However, Verstappen came close to relinquishing his lead when he lost control of his Red Bull RB19 while navigating the first right-hander at Portier. He made contact with the outside wall before cautiously continuing through the tunnel. Verstappen explained that, contrary to expectations, tapping the wall actually assisted him in regaining control of the car as he battled to maintain stability. Reflecting on the race afterwards, he stated, "I locked the rears and couldn't get out of it, so it's just trying to control it with a bit of drifting. Luckily, the wall in a way stopped it from sliding even more." Following the incident, Verstappen managed to maintain a steady pace as the track gradually dried toward the end of the race. However, he acknowledged that it had been a challenging task to avoid crashing into the barriers and to prolong his sole pit stop as much as he did. He faced strategic pressure from Alonso, which added to the difficulty of his endeavour. He explained that it was quite a difficult one because we were on the medium initially and Fernando was on hard tyre. We didn't want to go long, but we had to stay out. The rain was coming, we didn't know really what was going on, the tyres were graining. It took a few laps to get through that graining phase and then the pace picked up a little bit, but it was still very tricky to drive. It started to rain lap by lap a bit more, so we had to make the call to go into the intermediates, but it was incredibly slippery. When you are that far into the lead, you don't want to push too hard, but you also don't want to lose too much time, so it's quite difficult in that scenario. I clipped the walls a few times. It was super difficult out there, but that's Monaco. Verstappen widened his lead over his teammate Perez to 39 points. Perez endured a disastrous afternoon, marred by multiple instances of contact and 4 pit stops, ultimately finishing 16th and trailing by 2 laps. Speaking on the win, he said, "It's super nice to win it, also the way we did it today with the weather to stay calm and brought it home. A lot of points for the team as well, so it's great." According to Horner, Verstappen's pit stop happened a lap later than ideal. However, Alonso's decision to opt for a fresh set of medium tyres instead of intermediates quickly proved to be a misstep. This outcome alleviated the pressure on Verstappen, who had a tense moment at Portier but managed to overcome it and secure the victory. Speaking to Sky F1, Horner said, "I think we were on the ropes here. We knew coming into this weekend this was going to be our biggest challenge in the first half of the year, and the low-speed nature was playing to their strengths. We actually thought Ferrari might be the main opponent, but Fernando's just been on fire all weekend. I mean, unbelievable. We were nervous from the moment the red light came on, because when they pulled the covers off, you could see quite a few of them went on the hard tyre, and there's rain around. If they can go far enough, if the mediums degrade, it felt like maybe we had gone a lap too long before going on to the intermediates. I think had Fernando picked the inters, it would have been much tighter and put more pressure on our pit stop. But thankfully, he picked the slick tyre just as the rain was going. At that point, it's like, Max, don't take any risks, just get it to the pits." Horner commended the strong rapport and shared understanding between Verstappen and his longtime race engineer Gianpiero Lambiase, saying, "There's a lot of trust between the two of them, and that relationship between engineer and driver is so unique. There has to be a bond between the two that they can just speak openly and honestly, and you're managing the driver's emotions, giving him the information, and there's got to be that trust between them, which you hear time and time again with those two. When you're the lead car, you can only lose. You've got nothing to gain, and you've just got to try and work with the conditions." Red Bull's other driver, Sergio Perez, has extended an apology to the team for his qualifying mistake, acknowledging that it was unacceptable. The error placed him at a significant disadvantage for the Monaco Grand Prix. Perez's chances of recovery were hampered by a substantial crash, which resulted in him starting from the back of the grid after extensive overnight repairs by his team. In an effort to regain lost ground, Red Bull chose to start Perez on medium tyres and made an early pit stop at the end of the opening lap, aiming to provide him with clear track space to make up time on the pack and potentially surpass those ahead during the conventional pit stop phase. Following additional incidents and the onset of rain towards the end of the race, Perez concluded the race in 16th place, crossing the finish line 2 laps behind his teammate and race winner, Max Verstappen. This result further widened the gap between Perez and Verstappen in the battle for the Formula One Drivers' Championship, with Perez now trailing by a margin of 39 points. Perez's comeback efforts were hindered in the early stages of the race due to encountering traffic on the track. However, his chances of recovery took a hit when he made contact with both George Russell and Kevin Magnussen, resulting in damage to his front wing and necessitating a replacement. Perez had this to say about the incident. "It was going really well. Unfortunately, I hit the traffic really early. Then the rain came. We were one of the last ones to pit. Then I hit the wall. It was all a mess. Magnussen just broke out of the chicane. It just went bad. When you are in that position, you have to risk a lot." Speaking on his current status in the battle for the driver's title, Perez said, "We paid the price from my mistake in qualifying. That has been very costly, and I just have to apologise to the whole team because it is unacceptable to have this kind of mistake. I have to move on, learn from it. I cannot afford another 0 points in the championship." This race marks only the second time in 6 races that Red Bull didn't earn themselves a 1-2 finish. Verstappen is starting to pull away from the rest of the drivers in the points battle. Sergio Perez needs to make no more mistakes if he hopes to beat the 2-time world champion. Who do you think deserves the Drivers' Championship more? Tell us in the comment section down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks for watching.